Howdy folks, and welcome to Porch Talk today here at Cedar Creek Homestead, and I appreciate you joining me today. And today's subject is making YouTube videos, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I hope you enjoy today's video. I just want to say before we get started that if you aren't a subscriber, if you'd hit the subscribe button, and I'm fixing to explain some of that, why we want you to hit the subscribe button. And also, if you like the video, give a thumbs up. If you make videos and you have experienced something in your making YouTube videos and something that's going on with you, well, leave a comment there. We'd sure love to hear from you. I've been out picking stuff in the garden and thought I'd take a few minutes break this morning. It's actually hot and it's just about 9 o'clock, so it's we're under a heat advisory for today, and it don't actually start till 11, but I'm telling you, it's already getting warm out here. But anyway, to start the video off, to explain a little bit about the making YouTube videos and what I would call the good, the bad, and the ugly. And one of the good things I'll say about this is it's nice that with making YouTube videos, anybody that wants to make a video and publish it can. And now they do have guidelines and they have rules and they have certain systems in place that if things are put up that are not appropriate, that they'll take them down. People can report videos that are inappropriate and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes that could even be considered as a bad. But, you know, I try to keep mine as family oriented. And so I try to, everything I have, I live a family-oriented life anyway. I think if you walked with me day by day, you worked around me, you would see that what you see on camera is what you get in the real world. I don't want to be a fake here. Someone commented a while back and said, well, you put on overalls and all that and pretend, and no, this is my life. And I would wear overalls all the time. I don't wear them working when I go on my public job. I don't. And I don't wear them to church. I'd wear overalls to church if Josie would let me, but she won't. But anyway, it's a nice platform that anybody that wants to can make videos. And as a homesteader, that's really nice because anybody that you've got a farm, ranch, homestead, gardening, fishing, hunting, I mean, just about anything. You got political views, you want to support a certain candidate, you can make videos and put on YouTube. Now, another thing that I think is nice about this is one of the goods is that it don't cost me anything. Now it does cost me for my equipment. It costs me for my time, and I spend a lot of time doing this. I have to be careful because this time of the year I am so busy, and I sometimes don't want to spend too much time on the YouTube and hurt the other things that I have going. But at the same time, if you're going to do YouTube, you have to make videos. That's one of the keys. You've got to put out videos. But as a good point to that is they don't charge me. I can put my video up. They don't charge me a dime. And in case you don't realize this, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all of these big companies that are allowing you to put stuff out to your friends and whatever, it costs them a lot of money to have the background stuff in the back room, or the back room you might call it, the background. There is a lot of computers, a lot of employees, a lot of stuff that goes on, and most people don't realize that or understand. The reason that I'm bringing that out because I'm a businessman. I have a small business, and in the background, people don't realize all the stuff that goes on in the background. In order to go out and do the work that we do day by day, there is a lot of paperwork, a lot of taxes, a lot of things that I do that people don't see. So when they see the cost, when I bill them for something, they think, well, he was only here 30 minutes and he's billing me this amount. And, what am I paying for? Well, I have a vehicle. I have to have a vehicle to go out to their home, a fully equipped vehicle. Plus, I have computers, and I have cell phones, and all the different things, all the tools. I mean, it just goes on and on. Then I have to pay me, because if I'm not making any money, then I would go hungry, and I don't want to go hungry, and so I can't. I have to pay my light bill, and I have to do other things. So just like everybody else, I have to make what's called a profit. And today's world, people are against capitalism. Well, the big thing in capitalism is profit, and if you don't make a profit, if your grocery store does not make a profit, your local grocery store, it will close. If your local 7-Eleven you go to, if it does not make a profit, it will eventually shut down. If Walmart don't make a profit, they're going to shut down. These businesses that we frequent pretty often, Amazon, I do a lot of Amazon buying. I hardly ever anymore go. It's been a long while now since I've been in a Walmart store. And that was just to get a birthday card or something for somebody. I just don't go. For one thing, I don't like standing in line to pay somebody money. It feels like you're going into a government office. If you've ever done that, and you owe maybe taxes or something to the government, and you got to take a number to pay your taxes, I think is silly. So when I go somewhere that I'm going to be giving them money, I don't want to stand in line for it. So I have now started ordering a lot of stuff online. I order some from Walmart, but I order a bunch of stuff from Amazon, and it's so easy. And I can do that in the comfort of my home. After hours, when it's dark, I can't get outside and work in the garden, can't check the cows, can't do anything constructive out there, but I need a few items, I can go get them, and it's so nice. But on YouTube, they cost them a lot of money to do it. Plus, they're going to have to make a profit. If they don't make a profit, I don't even know if YouTube has stock. I assume they do. I believe Google does, and that being part of YouTube, I assume there is stock. Most companies have stock, and they have stockholders. And to get people to invest in your stock, you have to make a profit, and that's what they do. And they, Google and all this stuff, they do a lot of things that you don't get charged a dime for. Doesn't cost you anything other than when you're watching, for instance, videos, it costs you your time of having to wait through an advertisement, or you click skip ad. And some ads you can't skip, if you've noticed that. There's some ads that are short ads and stuff that you cannot skip. And some channels, you seem like most of their ads are unskippable. So I'm not sure how that all works. But recently, on a lot of our videos, the midterm ads, the ones that come up during the video, I've been trying to take some of those out. And there's a setting. I didn't even know there was a setting to do this. And somebody had shared that on a YouTube video, that if you didn't want them during midstream, or if you don't want one to start at the first, or you don't want one at the end. But if you take out all your videos, you're not going to make any money. And some people say, oh, they're just greedy, they're just greedy. I'm telling you, most people like to have money, and it takes money to make money, and it takes money to have things, and to buy new filming equipment, I've got to have money. Now, I could take money, and I did to get started, from other resources that I have to be able to buy cameras and to add things on. I got a little cordless mic. It's hooked in my bib of my overalls here, and to get that little system, it costs some money. And there's better ones, much better than what I have. I don't buy just top of the line, best of everything any time. But if I have the money and can, when I'm buying, I'll do the best I can. But we use our money that we make, our little profit, and it's not a lot. We have about 5,000, little over 5,000 subscribers. And we get just a little bit for every video. It's very small. So some people's like, oh, they're being greedy. Now, there's people that make a living off of YouTube. Wrangler Star. Have you ever heard of that channel? It's a very good channel. He puts out videos every day, but he puts a lot of time into it. And a lot of expense goes into it. And pretty much documents his life in a modern homesteading setting. There's other people like that are much smaller, but he has over 1 million subscribers. There's a guy, I wished I could tell you the name of his channel, that does diving. and he goes in and doesn't do deep sea diving a whole lot, but he's usually like in areas he'll go and clean them. He'll go into like where a river canal or something, and he shows the things that he has found. And I think the other day it was 2 million or some kind of amount of subscribers he has. Well, if he's doing advertisements, he's making a pretty good living off of that, but he has to work at it. It's like a job. I've known people that have quit their jobs or are talking about quitting their jobs because they make enough off of YouTube to be able to sustain themselves financially and be able to stay home, especially homesteaders like us. There's a lot of people, this is all they do. Some people have 3 or 4 or 5 channels going, and they make money from all these different channels and different subjects, and some people are just naturals at it. I wished I was. I wished I had more better camera skills and better abilities, and I'm working on that. I watch other video takers and I see, but sometimes people ask, why do you allow advertisements? Well, one thing is for the money. You can call me greedy or whatever, but I go out to work every day to make money. I make these videos to make a little money. I'm not ripping nobody off. I'm not asking you for your money. And so I feel like if you have to put up with skipping some ads, and if you watch an ad, I make more money if you'll actually watch the ad. So if you want to help me, watch those ads if you got the time. And sometimes you actually watch ads because maybe if you're like me, I get a video started and I'm like, hey, I need to go in here and get a cup of coffee or something. So as I'm getting started, there's maybe a couple of ads pop up. Well, that's helping the channels that I am watching. And why would I not want to help my fellow people? I mean, some people just want to take and never give. And it's like around here, for instance, there are people that do not want you hunting on their property. I mean, if they catch you on their property, they're going to call the law on you. They're going to do everything they can. They're going to want you prosecuted, chew you out, cuss you out, whatever, if you get caught on their property. But yet they'll come around here and ask, hey, can I come and hunt on your property? And you know, some people always want to take, but they never want to give, and it's a two-way street. Everything costs something. And when people say, oh, that don't cost you anything, it really does. Now, I want to talk about some of that. And to me, that's the good things are, I'll finish up with that subject a little bit, is the fact that anybody, now they don't start letting you have videos till you hit 1,000 subscribers. What was the rule? I'm assuming it's still the way it was. They used to, I think, if you had almost anything, they'd start letting you advertise. But they went to limiting it, then they went to 1,000. By the time I got started, they went up to 1,000. So it took me a while to ever be able to have videos. But then also, anybody can start, and you don't have to have any advertisements. I have a ministry channel, and on it I'm not doing advertisements because it's a ministry channel, and I just am not on it. So I have that freedom to do. Now I don't have 1,000 subscribers yet, and would I say that I would never do advertisements? No. But would I want during the middle of a prayer or something an advertisement? No. And I've had that happen. So on some of my homesteading videos, so. And something that's real important, and an ad pops up in the middle of it. And, I've been watching other people, and that stuff happens. But anyway, they allow anybody and all kinds of content. I know sometimes they have pulled stuff if it's inappropriate, and I've seen stuff that I thought that they should have pulled. I didn't comment or tell on it, but I thought they should have pulled. But anyway, the bad part of it is, you might say, is that you are regulated. And we have, that's one of the bads, is you can be regulated. Now, I feel like the people will regulate you. So there's no need for a lot of other regulations. But there are people, for instance, there was a guy had come to one of our local communities here with a camera from another state, and he goes went all over our state. He's up in other states, and he's causing trouble with the police, and he gets them all worked up and riled up. And sometimes I think some of the stuff he does, well, not just sometimes, I've only watched 2 or 3 of his videos, but I hear a lot about him. I think he's inappropriate. And I kind of think it should be that you would have to click something for your age, because to me it's being disrespectful to the police and stuff, and maybe have age verification on his videos. And actually, I've heard that they pulled down some of his channels and he gets another one started. Whether that's all true, I don't know. But people talk about the things that are inappropriate. So there's been people that have done homesteading videos like we have, and to get a lot of views, they will have their wife out in a string bikini, and they claim they get a lot of people view, and once they find out it's just a homesteading channel and they're talking about gardening, they click off. But because they get it, so a lot of people do clickbait and do things that's inappropriate that way. But some might say that's bad, and it is bad to do those kind of things. But some might say, well, it's bad that YouTube would regulate people, and actually it is against the rules in YouTube to use clickbait, to do that kind of stuff, but people do. There's some channels that'll put on things and say they're going to talk about a certain subject, and they don't actually even talk about it, or they'll put a catchy picture on there just to get you to watch. And I think that's all business. I don't know that YouTube really needs to regulate that. If somebody does this, as long as the stuff is clean. Where children, if they happen to click on one of my videos, I don't want them to see anything that would be inappropriate. And so that is kind of good. But some would say that it's kind of good. I feel it's good that they regulate, but some would call that a bad thing. They don't think there should be any regulations at all. Now, some think that YouTube will always be around, Facebook and all that. And I don't believe it will be. I think eventually they're working. I think there'll eventually be people will take it down, or at least the stuff will be so watered down that it won't be worth even watching. And I've heard some of the YouTubers that do our type of videos tell about some of the things that just stupid stuff that their videos were pulled down for. And there for a while, if you mentioned COVID, they wouldn't monetize your video. So I started saying Kung Flu, and people think that's just horrible. Oh, that's just bad. That's bad that you said that's racist or whatever. Oh, get a life's what I say. But that's some of the bads. You got to put up with some silliness along the ways. And so if I was referring to it, I would say that. And never ever did I have anybody that was of any kind of Asian persuasion at all ever say anything that they thought that was racist or bad comment. I'm not meaning nothing towards them. What I'm meaning is that came from China, and that's the truth. The president says it. Other people says it. It's been the CDC says it. It come from China. Now some say, oh, well, now it really, ours that we got come from Europe. Prove that to me. Prove it to me. I believe it come from Asia. I believe it come from China. So, but anyway, that's a whole different subject we could get off in. But you got your bad part of it in that people are so, it's so regulated. And eventually they'll probably regulate themselves to the point that they may not always be here. But I believe that there'll be something take their place. Right now there's Patreon, but people have to pay to watch the videos on there, and I assume that there is no advertising on Patreon. I have actually looked at a couple that referred you to Patreon, but I wasn't willing to pay the $2 or $3 a month to join them. But if it's someone I really, really like to watch that had regularly good stuff, I probably would. I've had some of you on watching my videos mention that before, but I actually, I think this YouTube, I just really enjoy it. I enjoy the ease of it. I enjoy that it's free. Anybody, whether you got money or not, you can watch the videos. And sometimes you don't have money for internet and television, all that stuff, but you can watch YouTube. If you have a cell phone, you can watch YouTube. And I see some of the poorest of the poor around here that have those expensive smartphones. So I'm like, if you can afford that, then you can watch YouTube for free. You can do Facebook for free. And I'm not sure about some of the others. My son's into some of these new channels and things that's going on, and it's more of the young people stuff. And but I thought YouTube was for the young people, and my wife got me watching YouTube videos. And now I'll just tell you some of the ugly part of doing videos on YouTube or Facebook, anything, is that you put yourself out there, and it is ugly. People will do inappropriate comments. One nice thing about YouTube is they will catch a lot of that, and they put it over into waiting for a review. And every once in a while I have looked at the review ones, and most usually anything that's been put in review was inappropriate for any channel to see. But somebody will get mad because you say a certain word or do something, so they want to hurt me. And, if I wasn't already into being a minister, is like a public speaking. So I have been into that a lot. I know, and I've had people meet me at the back door of the church. I've had people write me letters. I've had people call me. I've had people come to my home before that was mad because I mentioned a certain subject, preached on a certain subject, whatever. So I've kind of got thick skin when it comes to that. If you don't have thick skin, be careful and take it with a grain of salt when someone criticizes you. I'll give you some examples. I watched this video I was telling you about this young man, and if most of you probably know who I'm talking about. He's got a couple million subscribers, and I've watched probably half a dozen of his videos, and he goes, wears a diving suit, and he'll go down and get stuff like guns and knives and things like that from the water. Well, a while back, one that I seen that come up in my feed was that he was hurt and in the hospital. So I watched that, and he was upset because he was afraid people would be mad at him and stuff because he couldn't do videos. And I was like, anybody that is that way, you don't need them people, and that's awful that we have. But we have mean people, and there were people that was commenting mean stuff to that young man that he never gets into politics. He never gets into anything bad. The only thing he ever does is when he finds guns under the water, he takes those guns and he takes them to the police and turns them in. And the police a lot of times the serial numbers are wore off anyway. That wouldn't do no good to take to the police, but he does. He turns them in. But one of the good things he does is he cleans up the waterway. Any kind of trash. He finds some awful trash and carries a little thing hooked on him that's a little bag thing. He puts that trash in there. And I was like, he don't hurt nobody. It isn't doing anything negative, but there'll be people putting thumbs down. There'll be people criticizing him, and that's because we have evil people. We have people out there that are evil. The Bible talks about in the last days how evil people would be, and they were evil back in the time of Noah, so we still have evil people. We're always going to have them. And some, I think sometimes are just young people that are getting a laugh out of it. They're like, hey, this will be funny to put this on a video, to do this and this, and to get a rise. And I have seen some of the YouTube people in tears because of what people said. And I'm like, listen, don't let them tear you down. Look at the good ones. Look at the good points you get. And we'll get like a video. I had one that had like 45,000 views, a bunch of thumbs up. I forget the amount, but it was way up there. But I had like 26 negatives. And I was like, why worry about those people? The quickest way to fail, I heard this said one time, a man made this statement. He said, the quickest way to fail in life is to try to please everybody. And let me tell you, the main one you need to please is God. Number two, you need to please yourself. But if you can please God and what you're doing is pleasant in the eyes of God, don't worry about what all these other knuckleheads are saying and doing. Go right on. And I have had some ugly stuff, that I can't even repeat. People said things. And if you make a comment that I have never, ever made a negative comment to anybody on YouTube videos to try to hurt them. Never, ever would I do that. I've never done anything, to try to hurt people. That's just silly. But people do, and that's one of the ugly things. You've got to watch for people. If I see an ugly comment that makes it through the filters, it's taken down, and I block them. I don't have no problem blocking you if you make ugly comments. And if you're commenting, I can handle people sometimes putting up a different viewpoint. As long as they do that in a respectful and kind manner, that's no problem, because I guarantee you, if everyone watches this video was in the same room and we mentioned a certain subject, about any kind of subject, it wouldn't matter what it was, but we brought up a subject, everyone in the room would probably have a little different take on the subject. That's fine. That's what makes us unique. In fact, if we're all just alike, this has been a saying of mine for years, if we're all just alike, one of us isn't needed. But it takes all of the different people. God made everybody unique and individual on purpose. So I don't expect people to agree with me on everything. But some people are out just to be mean, and some are out, if you don't agree with them 100%, you're on their hit list. They're out to get you. And that's some of the ugly that's out there. When you go to doing videos, YouTube videos, you're putting your life and all that you have out in front of everybody. And I'm going to tell you, we don't share everything that goes on here. And some of that's because of security reasons. I have had people find me. I've had people find my personal cell phone. I have had people find my personal address, know where I live at. I mean, just things. And you know, you can Google your name on the internet, and you can find all kinds of stuff about yourself. One time I Googled, and it had every address I had ever lived at, everything, all for free, and had all my information there. And I was like, people can find out about you. So, you know, they know more probably than you know about your own self. So if you're trying to hide, and so you don't do videos because you're trying to hide, and I had thought about that before. I was like, you know, maybe I should hide, but I'm not going to hide. And I'm out. I preach funerals sometimes, sing at funerals. We do things. We're out in the public a lot. A lot of people see these videos put me out in public. Being a business owner, I'm out in public a whole bunch. So everybody knows where I live at. In fact, in this little town I live in, all you'd have to do is come into town, stop and ask anyone where I live at, and they would tell you right off. They'd say, oh yeah, I'll go out here. There was some people looking for me one time, and they stopped in town, and they told them right off where I live. So you can't hide. And you know, we do have security measures in place here just in case. You know, if you live in this type of life, you probably need to be a little careful about things. You don't want to tell everybody everything. The Bible says don't let the left hand know what the right hand does. Be a little careful about it. I think that's just wise anyhow, to do those kind of things, to be a little secure. Whether you were doing videos or not, you should try to practice some secure measures at your place. And can I say that I'm all equipped and ready, like I'm like a covert operative that's just all ready, and someone sneak up behind me with a gun and knife, I'd just pull out, boom, boom, boom. No, I'm not into all that. But I do take measures, and sharing everything probably isn't a good idea, to be a little careful. We've had people saying they won't see more of our place. And if you watched all my videos that I have, eventually you would probably see most of our homestead, where everything is, but it's in bits and pieces. And I know some go in and they show you everything in their home, every room, everything in the cupboards, where they keep their guns, where they keep their valuables, where they keep everything. And I don't know that that's a wise thing, because there are people, part of the ugly is that there are people out there that would mean to do you harm. You know, and there's been Craigslist, people that have killed people on Craigslist that have found them and stuff. And my son has done a little bit of business on buying things at Craigslist, and we have always took appropriate measures when we're doing things that we have purchased through that Craigslist, because there are people that are out to get you. One thing, my son was selling a boat, and a guy mailed him a check, told him he wanted to buy the boat, would mail him a check. Well, when he mailed him the check, he texted him and said, well, I'm sorry I sent you that check, but it's like for $3,000 more than what the boat is. Would you go ahead and cash it and put it in your account, get a money order, and send me my remaining money back? You know, that's just evil. And this guy was out, and my son at the time probably would have, if he'd had that kind of money that he could have took out of his account, he probably would have done such a thing. But immediately he showed it to me, so I told him to tell the guy that he is going to go talk to his dad about it and to the police and make sure it was legitimate. And the guy messaged him back and said some very unkind words, and we've never heard from him again. But there have been other things that have happened through YouTube videos. And a friend of mine, his son was on Facebook, and his son was in his teenage years, and had someone commenting him with very inappropriate comments and trying to get him to come for a rendezvous with them in another town. And they got up in arms, turned it over to the sheriff's department, and the sheriff's department went out and investigated and actually done a sting thing and caught the people. But they quit letting their son. He didn't want to anymore after that. He quit doing any kind of any of that kind of stuff, and it's sad because he was, you can't enjoy something that could be a good thing because there are evil people out there. So that's part of the ugly. So just be careful what you do and how you do it. If you're going to do videos, just remember that there's nothing free. It costs you time. It costs you your money, even though they may not charge you. You got to buy equipment and things. And also just remember that you're putting your life out there, and when you do, you're inviting public criticism. One reason why I would never get in politics, and some have mentioned to me before that I ought to get in politics here in our area and get in, and they think I'd be good for that. I've had people call me before and say, hey, we want you to run for this or whatever. How about it? This is my thing. It's bad enough putting your life on YouTube, but when you put your life out for the politics is even worse, I feel like. And I have no desire or interest to be involved. The most I get involved with politics is when it comes election time, like this November. I'm going to go cast my vote. And I'm probably what is considered a silent majority. But I'll vote when it comes time. And I'll vote what party I want to vote. And I'll do what I want to do. But I feel that is one of my rights as a U.S. citizen, to go cast my vote for who I want to. And who I vote for is nobody else's business either. I'll just say that. But here in in this video, just remember, while sometimes it may look like it's all roses and a rose garden here and everything's just going hunky-dory, we don't always show you all the bad, and we don't show you for sure all of the negatives. Maybe you've watched our videos and going to comment. Maybe you read. Some folks read all the comments on the videos, and they'll put thumbs up to people that have commented that are good comments that they like. They'll comment to them, or they'll put a thumbs up and stuff. And so sometimes something gets on there that's negative, and maybe it's on there before I can catch it and get rid of it. But like I say, they do have algorithms and things in place that help catch a lot of those things, which is very nice. But anyway, I certainly appreciate you watching today. Another Porch Talk. I've been trying to air these at 7 o'clock. We're usually talking about Homestead, and today I thought I would just change the subject a little bit, just about videoing, because some have sent questions wanting to know, and some I'll meet people every once in a while, and so just try to share about it a little bit. So if you're interested in wanting to put up videos, you could kind of understand some of the ins and outs. A lot of people cannot believe that I ever put up a video. Just a couple of years ago, I would not even watch videos of YouTube, or maybe 2 or maybe 3 years ago. I don't remember how long now. Time flies so fast, but it's not been very long ago. I wouldn't look at Facebook. People's like, I wouldn't even do texting on my phone. And people was like, you don't even do texting? You're way behind in the modern times. But actually, I think I could live the simple life and never be, if all this went away, I would live a pretty good life. If my phone didn't work anymore, I could no longer text, could no longer call people. People couldn't call me. I think I'd still be pretty satisfied. But anyway, hey, I certainly appreciate you watching today. May God richly bless you. We'll see you next week on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock for more Porch Talk. We're gone.